Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Olivia Stranirum from Group 3, and we will present our topic entitled Reading. My other two group teams is Nurwahyuning Putri and Aprilia Ristanti. So, what is reading? Reading is the process of looking at a series of written symbols and getting meaning from them. When we read, we use our eyes to receive written symbols, such as letters, punctuation marks, and space. And we use our brain to convert them into words, sentence, and paragraph that communicate something to us. Reading can be silent in our head or out loud so that other people can hear. Reading is a receptive skill. Through it, we receive information. But the complex process of reading also requires the skill of speaking so that we can pronounce the word that we read. In this sense, reading is also a productive skill in that we are both receiving information and transmitting it, even if only to ourselves. Reading is the third of the four language skills, which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Do we need to read in order to speak English? Actually, no. Some native speakers cannot read or write, but they speak English fluently. On the other hand, reading is something that you can do on your own and that greatly broadens your vocabulary, thus helping you in speaking and in listening and in writing. Reading is therefore a highly valuable skill and activity, and it is recommended that English learners try to read as much as possible in English. And what is teaching reading? Teaching reading is a complex process that the best teachers develop an extensive knowledge base and throw on a repertoire of strategies for working with struggling students. The teacher needs to teach important things in reading, steps in process the reading up to all the types of problems that will be encountered during reading. So that's all for me. Next will be presented by Nurwahyuning Putri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurhanin Putri and I will explain about 7 reading techniques for increasing learning and knowledge. So there are some reading techniques that can help us better and far more comprehensive readers. These are the following techniques of reading used in different situations. First is scanning. Scanning through the text is a reading strategy that is used for getting some specific points by looking at the whole text. For highlighting the important points of a book, the readers can skim through the summary of or the preface or the beginning and end chapters of that book. The second is skimming. This reading technique is used for getting the gist of the whole text lead. Under this technique, we read quickly to get the main points and skip over the detail. The third is active reading. Active reading aims to get an in-depth understanding of the text. Under this technique, the reader actively involved with the text while reading it. Fourth is detailed reading. This technique is used for extracting information accurately from the whole text. Under this technique, we read every word for understanding the meaning of the text. And the fifth is speed. Speed reading is actually a combination of various reading methods. The aim of speed reading is basically to increase the reading speed without compromising the understanding of the text reading. Some of the strategies used in speed reading are as follows. Identifying words without focusing on each letter, not to sounding out all words, not sub-vocalizing some phrases, spending less time on some phrases than others, and the last is skimming small sections. Structures. So the next is 6. Structure proposition evaluation. This reading technique by Mortimer Adler in his book How to Read a Book. This reading technique is mainly applicable to nonfiction writing. This technique suggests reading as per the three following patterns: studying the structure of the word, studying the logical propositions made and organized into chains of inference, and the last is evaluation of the merits of the arguments and conclusions. And the seventh is survey, question, read, recite, review. This method aims to facilitate a clear understanding of the text that the reader will be able to reach to teach whatever he has learned during the process of reading. The process involves 5 different steps. So the first is survey. The survey involves getting a quick idea of the whole writing piece. Question. Prepare question in our mind and look for the answer while reading the text and trying to make out the underlying meaning of the text. Read. The reader should read selectively if they are looking for any specific. Recite. The reader should answer the questions in his own words using only the key words that are required to sum up the complete idea. And last is review. The reader should review the entire things in his mind. And the next is 6 essential skills for reading comprehension. These are essential skills for reading comprehension and the tips that can help guide kids improve the skill. First is decoding. Decoding is a vital step in the reading process. Kids use this skill to sound out words they have heard before but haven't seen written out. Decoding relies on an early language skill called phonemic awareness. It lets kids hear individual sounds in words, known as phonemes. And the second is fluency. To read fluently, kids need to instantly recognize words, including ones they can sound it. They can sound out. Fluency speeds up the rate at which they can read and understand text. It's also important when kids encounter irregular words like of and the, which can be sounded out. And the third is vocabulary. Having a strong vocabulary is a key component of reading comprehension. Students can learn vocabulary through instruction, but they typically learn the meaning of words through everyday experience and also by reading. The more words kids are exposed to, the richer their vocabulary becomes. And the fourth is sentence construction and cohesion. Understanding how sentences are built might seem like a writing skill, so might connecting ideas within and between sentences, which is called cohesion. But these skills are important for reading comprehension as well. Knowing how ideas link up at the are in that at the sentence level help kids get meaning from passage and entire text. It also leads to something called coherence, or the ability to connect ideas to other ideas in an overall piece of writing. And the fifth is reasoning and background knowledge. Most readers relate what they have read to what they know. So it's important for kids to have background or prior knowledge about the word when they read. They also need to be able to read between the lines and pull out meaning even when it's not literally spelled out. And the last is working memory and attention. These two skills are both part of a group of abilities known as executive function. They are different but closely related. Working memory allows them to hold on to that information and use it to gain meaning and build knowledge from what they are reading. The ability to self-monitor while reading is also tied to that. Kids need to be able to recognize when they don't understand something, then they need to stop, go back, and read it to clear up any confusion they may have.
Hello, my name is Aprilia Ristanti from Group 3 and here I will continue our presentation about teaching reading. The last part is about the example of teaching reading method for 7 junior high school. We choose the interactive reading alert. Reading aloud might seem like an elementary level idea. However, when they read aloud for older students, teacher can model the process of reading for ESL. With the careful planning, the teacher can model the use of reading strategies, fluent reading, and carefully comprehension. It is important for the teacher to plan an instructional focus for their read aloud rather than simply to read the text to the students because they are learning to read. During an interactive read aloud, teacher can make predetermined stop through the reading to support the strengthening ESL by chunking the text into manageable parts and allowing to check in student understanding through the reading. Harrell and Jordan 2008 explained that the read aloud involves the teacher reading text alone to students while adding visual support, periodic paraphrasing, and an extension. This can be especially effective strategy for ESL because it makes the text comprehensible to the reader. For the procedure, the teacher first pre-read and choose the text, considering the vocabulary and concept that may be foreign for the student. Next, the teacher then gather appropriate support material such as visual, photos or object, or paraphrasing the scene in a simple language. Next, the teacher set the purpose for the lesson, explaining the direction to all students in clear and concise manner, followed by the teacher reading the text aloud for the model of fluency. During the reading, the teacher needs to engage the student with the text to help the students make a connection between what is being read and add the new vocabulary. As for the lesson continue, the teacher checks student understanding of the key vocabulary and the concept. And finally, the teacher assesses the student's learning in manner that is appropriate to the lesson, such as creating a visual paraphrasing what was read. Although the read aloud strategies require significantly more planning rather than just open the book and reading out loud, these strategies will greatly assist the ESL students for reading comprehension and understanding the vocabulary. When choosing the text for the read aloud, teachers should first consider their learner. While most of the middle grade students are capable for handling larger portions of the text, many ESL will need the text chunked into smaller, more manageable pieces. In addition, successful read aloud require practice and careful planning before instruction. Well, in the read aloud is a useful strategy for instructing ESL. It is also a wonderful opportunity to incorporate comprehension strategies. I think that's all from me. Thanks for watching.